Okay.
I think we're live.
Hello, hello. This is the Awful and Awesome Entertainment Wrap, episode 300. This is Rajyasree.
And I'm Nainika.
And I'm Abhinandan Sekhri, and we are coming to you live today with this camera in front uh, because it is our 300th episode. No applause.
Imagine
100.
doing it for 7 years almost.
My God.
That's not true.
Yeah.
How?
300
52,
episodes.
300 divided by 52,
That's correct. My
and
God.
of which there was a 6 month break
Why?
because something must have
Okay.
happened, but almost 7 years.
So you can join us live. I'll keep repeating this from time to time, depending on how and when you guys come live. There are two ways. This 300th episode, we will be reviewing a bunch of stuff, which is
Which is Abhinandan, which is the Diplomat and
Indian
Indian matchmaking.
and Afwa, the Hindi film by Sudhir Mishra that's just been released. But we will also be dedicating about 30 to 40 minutes taking your questions live. So two links have been sent to you. One link is to join this live stream for two subscribers only. It has been emailed to you, and apparently it's also on the WhatsApp group. It's been sent to you. It's on WhatsApp, so you can click on that link and join live. If you have any questions, you can just request in the chat box that I have a question, and our producers will take you on live. Please keep your questions 30 to 40 seconds so that we can take as many questions as possible, assuming any of you are interested in watching us live or asking questions. But if you just want to even write a question on text, in the YouTube comments, you can leave your question and we will take that question. It will be sent to us via WhatsApp, I'm guessing. And we can take that question. But those of you who want to ask the question live, you will just have to tell us in the chat box that I have a question. Please take me live. And if any of you are thinking that you'll come on live and then start misbehaving and abusing us,
We
cut
know
you
where to
quickly.
find you.
I would
Okay,
not
just
mess
catch
with
it.
a Bengali
Yeah.
threat.
I'll catch you. I'm relatively underemployed right now, so I have time also to find you.
And our fourth co-host,
Abbas.
Abbas, is not here in person, but he's here in spirit. He's in Bombay.
Okay, that makes it sound
That
like he's
sounds
passed
so
away,
sad. Huh?
But
No,
he's just not here because he's busy. He's very much alive and healthy and well.
I didn't
it
suggest
sounded
otherwise.
He's just here in spirit.
spirit.
It's just, it felt like,
Such But the one thing I will just say that is, Saturday morning, 11:30, you're totally going to be doing this live, and I was like, hi. And I came and I saw my two co-hosts clearly have had a bath and have dressed up and come, and I haven't had a bath.
You're looking very pretty though.
But why do you bathe on Saturdays?
why were you admitting to not bathing?
Because it's Saturday. Is it
What?
allowed in your household?
Maybe we haven't been and we just look very clean all the time.
No.
That's also there.
But it's
I like
nice that you're
Nainika's saying no,
publicly
no.
admitting
I've
to
had
not
a
bathing.
bath.
You know how white people do this on Twitter a lot, where they'll just come and casually admit that they don't bathe, that they're not clean, and everybody's just like,
No, I
that's
bathe,
really
but it's
insane.
Saturday morning. Like, why would it's? I mean, it's
You have
either
a
Is it-
cut-off time.
is it a religious
it's,
prohibition?
it's a custom in a house. Saturday, if you bathe, you don't get breakfast.
Oh, so
It's the
no
sniff
bathing
test.
all of
You have to
Saturday.
pass the sniff
No,
test.
then you can afternoon. But you can't wake up in the morning and bathe on a Saturday. It's just
Okay.
like,
Oh,
it's too
okay.
early, man.
And we've come from different states.
Yeah.
This is
UP?
this is NCR in front of you.
Gurgaon, Delhi,
Delhi,
UP.
Noida.
Yes.
And we can get someone from Faridabad also next time.
That's,
Abbas will get from Bombay.
that's the same
Yeah,
state.
Same state it is. Huh.
So we'll get into the reviews, but I will repeat before we do. Today's the 300th episode. We're going live. By the way, I'm wearing a news laundry cap. You can order this merch. It's a very cool cap. You can see, very nice. I'm also wearing a cap because my hair is looking like this today.
Beautiful.
So
Bad
that's
hair
why.
day.
So in the live stream, the subscribers who've been sent that link, you can request in the box that I have a question and we will take your questions. Or you can leave your question in the YouTube links, in which case we'll just read out your question. On that note, Nanika, why don't you go first? What are you reviewing for us today?
So for this week, we watched The Diplomat, which is a new series on Netflix.
We've
And
watched that? We,
yes,
as in
I
the
have.
royal we, all of us have watched it.
No, what I want to say is that because we want our subscribers to always feel that we are committed to
Yeah.
this show, that Abhinandan didn't want y'all to feel out of sorts. So he decided not to watch any of the things we'd put on the list. So he put
And
something else on the
Yeah, he
list.
came up with something fresh,
Yeah.
which is an interesting take.
Yeah.
Afwa, it says
Yeah.
released yesterday.
Correct.
I'm reviewing new stuff. They're reviewing
Exactly.
this Basi
Truly,
stuff.
truly,
Bossy
truly
stuff,
groundbreaking stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I'm speaking French. So it's this new series, and it covers the life of this. Like, there's this one particular ambassador, and she is an envoy from like this US to London, and she's basically caught up in the middle of this like scandal, like not scandal exactly, like on one of the aircraft carriers, one of the British aircraft carriers, an explosion has taken place, and it's a terrorist attack, and they're trying to figure out exactly how it happened and deal with diplomatic fallout of that entire
It's
situation.
a series.
Yes, it's a
It's a
series,
series.
8-part series.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's been rated quite well. I think it's like 90% or something on,
So
I think,
I loved it.
IMDb.
So it
It's
has Kerry
Russell.
Russell
Yeah.
playing she's been made the US ambassador to United Kingdom. She's informed about it the day she's going to be sent. Her husband is
Oh,
also
I've
an
seen the promo.
ambassador. Yeah. Rufus Sewell. And he is this like really well known
Suave,
ambassador and
charming.
but he's so good at his
He has a
job.
shut up that this is my job. You don't interfere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one is the scripting is fabulous, absolutely, of this, and the British Prime Minister's character and the way he approaches, the way he speaks, the way he deals with everyone. That and the US president, who's an oldish
Mhm,
man,
mhm.
who's not supposed to be Biden though, but he's an old man, and they keep making fun of the fact that
Yes.
he's a
No, no,
little.
I think it was a lot of like Biden, like,
Yeah, but
incontinence rumors and the
and
fact that
he wants
he's
a
a little
female
female.
vice president.
Yes.
So basically, Kerry Russell is told that you are going to, we want you
Spoiler
to
alert.
be, yeah, sorry, watch the first episode, it's there. And, but one, you have state politics, what you call geopolitics at play, and also how the CIA works with, so those things are very interesting.
They got it
How,
a lot right. Like somebody was
no, no, they
comparing, they
always
got it
have a
like,
Hmm.
political.
yeah, like all the politics stuff, how the different agencies interact with each other to get the information, how it's processed, what is the protocol followed. They got all of that right pretty much, which is props to the writers. They did a very good
No, no,
job.
they have to. They have
Yeah,
a
I guess.
consultant from the White House and all, usually ex White
Yeah,
House.
it didn't seem
Uh,
outlandish. So
But so you're saying all 8 episodes are about this one incident
no,
being
no, no.
crisis managed?
It's about the entire, many things happen, but also it's her husband's role in politics and how he's doing his own stuff. But it's very much a commentary on marriage
yeah.
So it's
and
not a political
relationships.
drama. It's
It is
a
a
It's
political
political
drama
and this thing.
and
It's not a
personal stuff. Like,
clear,
your House of Cards or your Newsroom or
yeah,
West Wing,
Hmm.
it's got similar elements to
yeah.
that. It's very much a political drama that focuses also on the lives of the protagonists and
Yeah, but
everything that
There's a
goes
little
around.
romance.
Newsroom and that other one, the West Wing or whatever, that was predominantly a political drama. There was, of course, the personal lives, but it was
This is also
predominantly.
predominantly a political
Yeah.
drama,
So
but it's
it's
also,
70
again,
30.
as Rajyasree said, a great commentary on marriage as well, because
Yeah.
their marriage is a little, well, spoiler alert, strained. So, and it's just how they're trying to navigate it amongst the fact that she is likely to become VP and she can't get divorced before that.
Just saying, marriage is strained. Every marriage is strained. There is no such thing as a non-strained marriage. So, just saying.
Coming from a married man who's had many marriages.
Oh, we have our first subscriber. There's a lady sitting on the chair. Oh no, that's the
Stop
lady
it.
in the Diplomat. I thought it was
Oh,
the first
Kerry
subscriber.
Russell.
Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell.
and
You Kerry Russell question? No.
Kerry Russell is not. If we could get
What
Kerry
else has
Russell.
Kerry Russell been in? Recently, I
She's
saw
been
her in
in the
Cocaine Bear.
Americans. Was she not in Americans? She is
Okay.
Matthew. She and Matthew Reyes were in Americans. Then she's been in. What else has she been in?
She was recently in Cocaine Bear, which was an insane
Yeah,
movie
which I
to
couldn't watch. Means I will try and watch it, but I haven't. Honey, I blew up the kid that we don't want to talk about. I don't think even she wants to talk about that.
It wasn't a bad film though.
Honey, I blew up the kid. Not
Not
Honey, I
Shrunk.
shrunk the
Yeah,
kids was
even
nicer.
Blew Up the Kid was okay.
Was it
Okay.
nice?
For its target audience, it was good.
Okay, what was the target audience?
Kids.
Kids.
Okay.
She was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I don't remember her in that.
I just remember the apes from that movie, so
And but she's very The Americans is a fabulous show also.
Okay, I haven't
So
watched that.
which she acts in with her husband. But this is definitely you would love this show actually. Because
Yeah.
it's very, very
I have
I
yet
did-
to start Succession, which I'm supposed to.
Yeah, I haven't started Succession.
so
I'm
I
waiting for it to
since we have not watched Diplomat, when
I
we
haven't,
have that
you have.
way, we'll comment on Succession, which I watched.
We've commented on Succession many
No,
times.
episode 6, and it is so good. You keep thinking it will maybe it will dip down, and what's his name? Alexander Sarsgaard is in the guy who's trying to
Yeah.
buy ATN and all. And it's just fabulous. You have to, but you have too many episodes to watch.
So, I must say that I don't think I haven't watched Succession, but nothing that is happening in Succession could match what is happening in real life with Fox, with the latest texts and emails of Tucker Carlson coming out,
Yeah.
the kind of things he said, the circumstances under which he was fired, the kind of commentary around it on the Stephen Colbert show,
Yeah.
etc. I mean, I don't think even Succession could write something that dramatic.
Reality is always stranger
But
than
they will
fiction, I
most
suppose.
probably, because according to Rupert Murdoch, someone is clearly feeding information to
Storylines
the
too.
Succession
Yeah, we
scriptwriters.
talked about it the last time, right?
Yeah,
Like he
so
got divorced from his wife, and there's a very clear clause in their divorce agreement that she can't sell the
but
plot
that
line to Succession.
yeah, but that yeah, to Succession they've been specific, but anyway
Any
you
other show,
can't
I'm sure.
really sell anything, any
Right.
of that information.
So, other than Succession, sorry, other than Diplomat, the other thing that we were viewing this time is something. that- Uh, Sorry, we had an audio interference, which was our own voices
Yeah,
interfering with us. So maybe
but
it's gone into a loop,
Feedback loop.
feedback loop when people are listening to it. But the other thing is something that even had I had the time to watch,
Wouldn't have.
I would not have watched it. So just saying, which is that whole matchmaking. I tried to watch the first season, first
one
episode,
episode.
and I refused to watch that shit. It was just so bad. It just, and the other thing is that Bollywood vibes. I cannot watch more than 7 minutes. But just letting everybody know that I will be in London for a conference. We are doing a subscriber meet in London on Saturday, the 13th. Let me make sure I don't get the dates wrong. On Saturday, the 13th, yes, of May at 12 noon. If you're a subscriber, the venue has been sent to you. Please write to us at subscription@newslaundry.com. I repeat, subscription@newslaundry.com if you want to attend it. The meet is only open to subscribers. I've said this several times and I will repeat. Please do mail and say if you're coming, because what happened in the Michigan subscriber meet is that almost 10 to 12 people more than what we had budgeted, not budgeted for, क्या कहते हैं, taken the table for came, and they're very strict about how many people are allowed because of fire exits, etc. We've got about, I think, 60 or 70 people who have registered so far. So we have got a venue that can accommodate those many. If 100 turn up, it just becomes a little messy for us. So subscription@newslaundry.com, 13th May, London, subscriber meet. It's a Saturday, 12 noon. If you're coming, please write to us so we know how many people we should arrange for. Yeah. You were saying, Rajyasree, I will refuse to watch
That's
that.
why you're going to London, because Seema Auntie is in London. Indian
London.
Matchmaking
Yeah.
season 3 is Seema takes London basically. So who can,
Subscriber meet pe aa jana.
if
Um,
Seema Auntie goes to for the subscriber meet, the kind of publicity
you
you
could
will
get
get.
from it, yeah.
Just
But like I'm sure Abhinandan would make a great, like, participant on Indian matchmaking. Like they screen the
going by the
producers
people they
screen
Martin
have on
Cousins, a
it.
game show?
It's
No,
like
it's
that
not.
only. It
It's a
looks
well,
like.
marriage is a game show technically, but
Profound
Eh,
thoughts from the youth, from the
you-
Gen Z.
yeah.
I am not Gen Z, or
She's what are you?
I think I'm a millennial.
No, you're not. You're
No.
22 or something.
I'm not
Okay,
22.
24.
I'm
It doesn't
25.
matter. Yeah. So you're a Gen Z.
You
I'm
could
You're a
be
not.
my
Zoomer.
child. If I had a child
You're a
at the right
Zoomer.
age.
You're the right age if you were in the 1912s.
No, I
Ah.
you would be my child. You call me auntie, auntie Rajyasree from now on.
So you guys watched how many episodes of this
I
show?
watched the entire thing,
Okay,
Which is
which was 6
8.
episodes.
8.
8
And you?
episodes.
I am not. I mean, I tried to be really committed to it, but I could only get through 3 before I had to
I
check out.
watched all 8 episodes.
Okay,
Seema Auntie
is a
is
star.
first. I want to say this whole thing first. People on Twitter should stop criticizing things or commenting without watching. This I've noticed without fail. Someone has said something on this show, then I watched the show. That line only is not in the show.
Which one?
Then without fail, there'll be something because I have then watched the episode thinking, will this line, and
No,
I'm
but
like,
the poetry line was there that we
no, the
talked about.
poetry line I love. She
What's the
said,
line?
It was so
one of
good.
the women said their demands are also a little bizarre.
One of the
this
women, as in,
says one of the candidate who's looking for a
Match.
she says,
match.
whose demands are bizarre?
No, this woman who is looking for a match, she's laying down her demands for what she wants in a husband. So she says, I want a I write poetry also, and her poetry is so scary that I don't think she should be writing.
Like
And
Kapil Sibal.
don't call everything poetry, people. Okay, everything is not poetry just because you think you've written. So she wants a poet. So Seema Auntie says something which even I agree.
I agree with it
There's
as
no
well.
need to marry a poet.
You can always read a
You can
book.
always read a book of poetry. My husband has to be a poet as well. Like it's a which even I feel you don't just because I like reading murder mysteries doesn't mean I have to marry a murderer.
What a bad analogy. Oh
You'd
dear God. That is
actually,
the
I feel
worst.
like Rajyasree, you'd get a interesting kick out of if you were married to a murderer, and then
I'd
you're
be
sort of
quite because I
solving the
constantly be
clues, like
solving.
just like, oh, what is actually happening with my
Why is
husband? And
there a bloody
yeah,
glass there?
like you're uncovering the deep secret
Why
over
is
the
my
course of
neighbor
like,
dead?
yeah, exactly. And you start suspecting whether my husband's the actual murderer. I feel like it would make for a very interesting show that they
Yeah.
should try
You
to.
should keep your mic under the chin so you don't
Sorry.
cover your face because this is
Oops.
visual. This is
Okay.
not just audio. So if you're going to be talking like this, then people are saying, so
Okay,
just
I'm not
They're
used
so
saying
to
it'll
I
be
have
it.
below the
beautiful
chin. It should be below
eyes.
the chin.
I'm
I
not
got
used to
beautiful eyes.
handling a
This is going to be like Kerala story. The NL hijab.
Like, this is our hijab.
interesting. Yeah.
So,
But
so here they have. So the plot is in the first they had what, six candidates. She was trying to find a this thing for a four, whatever. This time they're new six or new four.
Yeah.
they're new and there's
Some
some
recycled old ones as well,
recycled
who still can't
just
find
So they
anyone.
haven't found still, or they've left
they
the ones they
still
found.
so there are certain things which are very important in which Indian matchmaking shows. One is okay, so the criticism someone they keep talking about caste. So I watch 8 episodes is not a small amount of things episodes to watch, 50-minute episodes or whatever they were. Throughout, in fact, the only progressive thing that is said is someone says, I want a Brahmin bride. So Simanti says, but you are not a practicing Brahmin. Why do you want a Brahmin bride? How
What is
does
a
it?
what is a practicing Brahmin?
As
As
in,
in
you're
religious.
not religious at all. So why do you want a Brahmin
But you
bride?
can be
No, but they keep
casteist and
saying
not
things
religious.
like,
So
I
that
want it from the right community,
so
same
she said, no,
community, all of that.
community. If you're having an arranged marriage, it would be bizarre that someone is having an arranged marriage with a matchmaker, and you're not clearly that's anyway some regressive
Yeah,
thought
but
in your
I mean,
head.
the participants that come there, they're like, they are regressive, but they don't want to say it outright. So a lot
But
of
they
times
say
they're
the
like,
caste thing. They say
some of them say the casting, some of them are trying to appear progressive. So they're like, good family, financial compatibility, good community, all of that. Like those are markers subtly for the fact that,
but she says many times to stand up for this thing I have to
right.
So
say,
Seemanti is not casteist.
or this community. She says you're looking for a bride or groom, focus on the qualities you want. Na? I want this like Gujarati, some
Particular type of strain
particularly
of Gujarati.
particular community which has 8 members or something they want to marry within it. You'll have hybrid like odd children also. Don't do this. So she's very clear about
What is a
that. And
hybrid? Or
as in
As in
inbreeding is
inbreeding
not
is
what's
a
bad.
good
hybrid?
hybrid is
Those are
inbreeding.
vehicles, petrol, and anyway.
Electric vehicle.
I'm just repeating before we continue. If you have questions, we will be dedicating half an hour to questions from subscribers. That is why we're doing the 300th episode live, because you have made an unlikely long innings of a show that I didn't think would last more than a few months. So,
Thank you, Abhinandan.
so
That is very kind.
no, I'm just saying, News Laundry people didn't really come for pop culture commentary. So it was because for the longest time people said you don't cover entertainment, you don't
Right.
cover stock market, you don't cover sport.
Huh.
I was like,
Sorry, my kid was
stock
calling.
market, sport, and then all three are kind of a expert
Uh-huh,
area.
uh-huh.
Like it's I can't start doing stock market, but clearly pop culture does not belong in those. Anyone can pay low. So I'm not referring to you, but
I'd say something very rude to him, but I'm not going to because this is a public
Live.
forum.
but so just so you know, if it wasn't a public forum, who is the one who behaves badly and who has a bad reputation?
I do verbal abuse.
But the point now
But that
I'm
is
saying is,
kind
Abhinandan
verbal
does
abuse.
if you have any
physical. My
questions,
arm is
if you
going
have
out.
any questions, you can put them in the the
Chat?
link that has been
Oh,
sent to you in the box, and our producers will take you live. Please keep your questions 30 to 40 seconds so we can take more questions. And if you don't want to ask a question live, you can leave it in the YouTube comments. It will be sent to us via WhatsApp. So, Nanika, what are your top three things which is makes this show worth watching? And top three things that make it completely not worth watching and make infuriate you, if there are any such three.
Top three things. I think, okay, first, the format is very flexible. I feel like, it's just like a conversational podcast between two hosts, and pop culture is also like,
What are
what
you
This
talking
happened?
no
about?
Indian
Oh,
matchmaking.
Indian match. I
Even I
thought,
was
oh
thinking, is it
my
flexible? I was like, oh, yeah,
God. Oh
no,
my God.
thinking.
You said about this
Indian
show. So
about
I
not
thought,
this show about
but we
I
had,
This
will not.
okay,
show
we've
is
had,
lovely. We
Yeah, not
don't.
I'm not asking
You're
you guys
not
to tell you about this show.
oops.
assessing.
I made an oopsie. No, okay, about Indian matchmaking, what makes it work? I mean, it's clearly not working. People haven't gotten married off of it yet. So apart from that viral lady who
I'm not
might.
sure that's the purpose of it. That people should get married. People should watch it. That's the purpose of the show.
No, no, I mean, she's supposed to be matchmaking. I mean, she
No, no.
hasn't done
The
any
show is
matchmaking at
supposed to
all.
get people to watch it, and it is one of the
Most
highest
watched
viewed
shows.
shows.
Yeah, I
It is.
mean, yeah, it really reveals too much about Indians and how absolutely uncool, deeply uncool we are.
And
So basically, you can't find three things that you like about the show.
I mean, it's a struggle for me to watch it. I watched the first season when the pandemic happened because, I mean, we were all holed inside and there was nothing else to do. So I ended up watching it then. But then the second season, I've never managed to finish. And this third season, I wasn't planning on watching it. I mean, I had to review it, so which is why I, took
Oh,
out the
so
time. So,
sense of duty for
yeah.
you. Sense of duty or sense of आज तो ये देखेंगे. What a lovely way to spend my
No,
evening.
no. So I have to say, it's very funny that in the whole thing, 3 seasons, no one has gotten married.
yeah, she's
But the
stunningly bad at her
last
job.
couple who get together, no, there's another couple which gets together also, but they aren't married yet. The last couple which gets together met on a dating app, and it's a Hindu girl, Sindhi girl, who meets this Muslim boy, and they
You should have
get
said that.
together.
Now Primetime will run some love jihad on Indian matchmaking. Anyway,
But
But actually, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. I mean, spoiler alert, probably. What happens to the viral girl? She traveled all the way to meet her boyfriend's parents or something.
she's very enthusiastic about getting married, so
Oh,
she
so
loves
hopefully she
everything.
will.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they love each other
so
and
they
all.
met on the dating app. Why are they on the show?
No, no,
No, no. So
no.
the last one is just I don't know because it totally
The one you
goes
told.
against. Yeah, yeah. It goes against what like
So hang on, they met on the dating app. How does
no.
Seema get?
First, Seema auntie was trying to find her a boy, but this girl rejected all the
All the
boys.
boys.
And there's one very sweet boy right in the beginning. He's a maths teacher, and the kids in class are very gung ho that he should find a wife and all. And poor thing gets rejected by two girls because he's
Too
too
sweet.
sweet and too nice, and you really feel bad. You're like, he's such a nice
Would you
boy.
marry him?
No, of course not. He's such a nice boy. I know
So,
nice is clearly not something which
so they
appeals to me.
allowed cameras into a classroom.
I
Yeah,
think with this
yeah.
one
Which
particular
school is this?
episode.
I mean,
One
wait,
one episode.
dude,
England.
okay, dude. I mean, you allowed Indian matchmaking cameras into a school classroom to feature in a show like this. I worry about that school. Hmm.
So, but I would say it's when people are saying it's a great commentary on India and Indian
Mm,
weddings. This is the way it's arranged marriages. People want the one thing it's a commentary on is that however successful you are in your career and however happy, and many of them have a lot of friends and all. It's not like these are friendless people. The one goal in mind though is I have to get married. If you don't get married,
you're
nothing else.
socially a
No,
bit
no,
of an
and
outcast.
nothing else matters. You have it. There's no joy in life without that. So that's good.
Also,
Good
Seema
to
auntie is always like, telling women, 100% you can't get, so,
No, she tells
reduce
the
your
boys also. She tells
expectations.
everyone,
She's nice, she's
compromise.
smart that way, reduce your expectations.
कभी किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, कहीं जमीन तो कहीं आसमान नहीं मिलता.
Okay, that was very
Uncle,
succinct.
uncle.
We can start taking questions, but before we do, I repeat, we have a subscribe meet in London. So if you want to come, do mail us at subscription@newslearner.com. And also, this week was Press Freedom Day. So we had a special Press Freedom Day nuisance, which is not done by Manisha, done by yours truly because she's in Karnataka. We have a special Press Freedom Day Tippani, which is not done, done by yours truly. Uh, and we have a Press Freedom Fund that we have set up because we want to do stories, reports, which kind of shine the light on how free is our press, why press freedom is important. So you'll see a bunch of stuff around that. And it's important we do that. And because, we feel that there is a a lack of understanding or appreciation of how important a free press is and independent media, and Newsline doesn't run on ads, which actually, in my view, compromises media independence significantly. So do contribute to our Press Freedom Fund. Uh, you can go to our website, newsline.com. The link is there. The link is also in the show notes here. So do contribute to that because we want to top it up before the end of Press Freedom Month. So we hope you do that. So we can start taking questions. If you want to admit people, you're most welcome. If you send me the questions on WhatsApp, I can take those as well. Because we are going to be
Yep.
we're going to be reviewing Afwah, Sudhir Mishra's latest film produced by Anubhav Sinha. Uh, I watched it. I loved it. I shall tell you why, more about it. But let's start with the questions. Vijay Ganesh says, are you going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Yeah, you want to tell me, will you? I mean, I know I will because I read, I think in today's paper, that it is the best Marvel film ever made. Did you
And
read?
I'll watch. Did you read? Don't say like I don't read. You make it sound like
I asked a simple question. Everything that you asked, that there is some hidden meaning. Otherwise, she doesn't get layers to any conversation. But when
layers.
there are no layers, then she'll look for one. Will you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I mean, if I have any say in it, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really like that guy who plays Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Chris.
Hence, no.
No. He's one of the.
He was in love with
Chris
Nomura.
Pratt.
Pratt.
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Pratt.
There's
Yeah.
Chris
Fried rat.
Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, and there's another Chris.
And Christmas.
Evans. Shut up. Chris Evans also.
And there's Christian.
Again?
But I think the funniest sequence I've ever seen
Okay.
in a Marvel film is when they find Hulk, no, Thor floating around in space, and that raccoon and uh, Chris Pratt and
Huh.
that other big guy Batista. I don't know what his character is
Dave.
called.
Dave Bautista.
So
Huh.
he and when they let him in, he gets a little insecure about his
Size.
not his size, just
Huh.
his
Hmm.
macho-ness and good looks.
Hmm.
So when he
Hmm.
starts talking in a deep voice, he says, "Why are you talking like that?" Because
Yeah.
Thor he says, "What? That's my normal voice." And when Thor starts taking control, he says, "Yeah, I'm in charge." I think that is the funniest sequence I've seen in any Marvel film.
No,
She's
so
a
it's
great character.
supposed to be good, but I'm getting a feeling that it might not live up to the hype.
I see.
I'm getting a feeling.
You are
but
not a
I'll try
Marvel.
it.
Absolutely
So
not.
your religion with Marvel is mine with Harry Potter, basically.
Fair.
Oh God,
Okay.
it's horrible. I can't watch. I've never been able to watch a Harry Potter film, and I can't read those books.
I think they were okay when I was a child. Like that's the only reason I sort of watched them. But, the third one was very good because it was done by Alfonso Cuarón, the same guy who did Roma.
Oh,
What,
really?
Harry Potter?
Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban is the same guy who did the third part.
Okay.
And that is the only like that's
Everyone
not
makes mistakes in that.
no. Prisoner of Azkaban is a very decently done movie for the Harry Potter franchisee standards, I think.
Okay, then Rohit says, Nico, will you never read my email on Coke Studio India? I sent that 2 months ago. Rohit, I really
feel
don't know
sad.
why that mail is not with us. Our producer is saying they have searched the spam. They have searched. Why do you send it to me, Abhinandan Sekhri at gmail.com? Our producer is sitting here. They said they looked for a mail by Rohit on Coke Studio. They can't find it. Send it to me directly because I think, Rohit, you do have my email ID and we shall include it then. Then putting a subscriber named Yogesh on the stream. All right, let's get Yogesh on the stream. Uh, does it happen on the click of a button or do I have to say abracadabra, mbambole? And there he is, Yogesh. I can't see you, but clearly I should be able to hear you. Oh, yeah, I can see
Hello.
Yogesh.
Hi.
There Yogesh is. Hi,
I think
Yogesh.
you're on mute.
Can you hear me? Can you
Maybe our
hear me?
producers have only muted him.
Maybe we muted you to
No.
check. No. Just check your thing, your audio, Yogesh.
So,
Hello.
Yogesh, we will hear you. Just give us a yes. Yogesh, say something.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes,
you
you are,
are.
Yogesh. So, welcome, Yogesh. Thank you. First, let us thank you for your subscription, for your support, and all that. Where are you calling from, Yogesh?
I am calling from Noida.
Oh, your
Neighborhood.
neighborhood.
You could have come along with Nainika to the studio itself.
So, what do you do, Yogesh?
I am in sales actually. I sell media, the ads you see on website. So I bring those ads. I'm responsible for that.
Oh, you're in advertising. We don't take ads. Yeah, otherwise, we would have taken your ads. We only take subscription to remain independent. So,
Yeah.
Yogesh, what's your question and who is it to?
I this like in general, many times, many of the subscribers have recommended Your Name, so which is an anime, and there is a new movie which has come out called Suzume, so which is by the same director, and it is actually an anime, but it has very like mature themes and very beautiful in terms of like the cinematography and animation. So any plans to watch like Suzume or anything in this space, maybe Your Name or something like that?
I think Nanika's out of the three of us, she's the most in touch with the anime genre.
Actually, a friend recommended it, and I was planning to watch it, but I haven't really found the time yet. But Your Name, I've heard very, very good things about, and a friend who really likes anime, I mean, recommends it very highly as a beautifully done anime. So I think when I do find the time, I'll definitely go and catch Suzume.
Your Name is the name of the film.
It's the name of a series, anime
Oh,
series.
for a minute, I was like, Your Name, I've heard great things about. I said, is Yogesh like an anime expert that people know about? I was a bit thrown. Okay, Yogesh, did you write that email about anime as a genre and, the various very mature and complex themes that anime have discussed? I remember reading a mail a few months ago about that. So,
That wasn't me, but I did write a mail or something like that. I think a year back or something,
yeah,
like from that. But many of the subscribers have also recommended
I must.
Your Name.
Yeah, I must admit it's something that I have been recommended to by many people, but my watching record is not great. I I haven't got down. Have you? The
No,
only one that I watched and it blew my mind was that Pakistani film. What was it called? It won an award also. No, no, no.
no, no, no.
It
The
was an
anime
animation
one.
film. It was an animation film, which was a Pakistani film, a while a short film. It won like some major international awards. That blew my mind. But you,
No,
anime?
I don't. I'm not a.
No, it was about I think hijab or it was about a.
Oh, it will
You
come
remember
back to
that?
me. It was a very good film,
Amazing.
actually. No, that's pretty much so. I've watched one or two, but I've never gotten into watching anime as such.
Also, I think I'm getting maybe it's just me because there's just like there's a Karnataka election on, and then there's some crisis after the other, and then the court cases and the IT notices. Even like on a weekend, like when
Hmm.
I do have, let's say, hours, and very few times I go out at all on the
Hmm.
weekends because I just want to stay home and sleep, and I do have time to watch. Earlier, I wouldn't mind switching on Netflix or
Huh.
Hotstar. But now, other than the Premier League or whatever for football, I just find myself, even if I have the time, I I've got fatigued. Are the numbers of Netflix showing out, or is it just me? That are they
You.
different? It's just me.
That's it.
No, I mean, I definitely feel like there's a lot of Netflix shows these days, and they keep like churning out one after the
There's
other,
no
and a lot of
fatigue.
them
There's
are
no
not.
OTT fatigue
No,
happening.
no, there is
There is
supposedly.
definitely a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Netflix and all have a lot of Netflix more than the others has
Mhm.
a lot of misses rather than hits
Yeah.
on there because they're
I feel
like
like
really churning it out so
at
much.
some point they had a lot of money, so they were saying yes to every single show that was coming up, and
Mm.
Yeah.
it's led to a lot of mediocre content that you can't really metabolize. So definitely.
Okay, but thank you so much, Yogesh. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your question, your comments, and we basically exist because of subscribers. So I cannot thank you guys enough. Then we have a googly question by Reshmi Mohan. This is interesting. I'd love to hear the answer to this. Let me start with you, Rajyasree Sen. If you had to review Awful and Awesome, what would you say about the show and its hosts? Be honest.
I'd say it can be entertaining. Sometimes it would be nice. Like while there's a charm to some of the hosts not watching a lot of the stuff being reviewed because that's like it's a fun part of it. It would be nice if we watched more, if there was more topical stuff reviewed and
The hosts watched what?
yeah, what was being. But I think there's a charm to that also. That okay, one person doesn't watch it all, and that's the like on the View. There are some of the hosts have quirks which might not appeal to everyone, and I otherwise I think it's quite fun. It clearly works.
Yeah.
People are
I don't know.
300 episodes now,
yeah.
so
So uh, I'll come with my review in the end, but I just like to say Rajshri is like that Indian mother कि आपके बच्चे ने सर फोड़ दिया किसी का बड़ा नटखट है और चार्मिंग. Then when that boy becomes 20-year-old, he has run over and misbehaved with them. अरे बड़ा नटखट है और charming. You
That was
know,
very.
why, what?
That is a reach.
So, how would you review this show?
I mean, I love it.
Review it. Don't say I love it.
That's.
The Reshmi has asked if you were to review this show and its hosts.
I mean, I find it very enjoyable. Which is why I ended up
Oh
asking
yeah, she
to
was.
a listener
We
for the longest
discovered
time.
her as a listener who commented on the show, and we said, "Why don't you come and host it with us?"
Yeah, so I've always enjoyed it. I've been listening to it since 2018, and I thought all the episodes were entertaining. I mean, the banter between the hosts was interesting. There was a lot of content that I wouldn't otherwise know of
Hmm.
that would be discussed on this show, which is very good. I mean, if you're not, keeping up with the grapevine or whatever's happening, I think it becomes a window to discover interesting content, and the take on it is like, I mean, again, we're not supported by advertisers, so we can say whatever we want about the shows. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. And we always I mean, it's very brutally honest about it's very like, it's not highbrow reviewing where we like go into the nitty-gritties of it. A
Strange
lot of
way
it is
of
also just
insulting someone.
not insulting, but the reviewers are very open about the fact that did I personally enjoy it or not. And it's not always about, whether the show has mass appeal. It's also
Hmm.
sometimes very blunt and direct in the sense that I did not enjoy it despite the prestige it brought in.
So
So
Ram Sharma says, "I love listening to you and Rajshri and the banter between you two, and Nanak also. I'm guessing, but I'm a student and can't afford the subscription. But you guys are my favorite podcast. I'm so happy for this 300th episode. Thank you, Ram. Um, Ram, do send me your email ID. That's abhinandansekhri@gmail.com. We will give you a free subscription. But remember, when you start earning, pay it forward. Sponsor someone else's subscription. Always remember to pay it forward. I'll give you my brutally honest review if I were reviewing this show. Uh, no offense to anyone, producers, everyone. Uh, my review would be, I don't know why I'm listening to this show or watching this show. It is not giving me any really insightful information. It's not like it has a very informed cinematic critique. A lot of the times, the hosts are just talking about themselves, and I'm not interested. They find their own jokes funny. I don't. And it's just not my kind of show, I'll be honest. But the only podcasts I've listened to, if I'm learning something I don't know, which is why there are a lot of shows, and friends of mine do shows. Like, for example, he's not a friend, but I like him a lot. I think he has good humor, like Cyrus's show. I think Cyrus, when I was young, he was a fantastic VJ, and he was very new. I mean, now you guys take it for granted, but Doordarshan generation, when MTV came, he had the cockiness to go out on the streets and do stuff with people, which even that Jimmy on the street, whatever his name is, who does it now, that that guy,
Abroad.
yeah,
Ha
he
ha
does.
ha.
Like Cyrus used to take big pangas like that back then, but his podcast is it's just three people chewing the fat and like, what am I learning? So, and that's also because I'm old, I'm almost 50, and that's not a target audience. So that would be my honest critique of this show. But that's just because my tastes are different. Clearly, some people like it, and that's fine as well. Too much?
No, no,
Too harsh? There's stunned silence here. No, it's okay,
no.
right? I mean, we can be honest about ourselves.
yeah.
But it's good to be honest about
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Do
And
you
I would,
think the host should watch what they are reviewing?
I think the host must watch the
Yeah,
review.
just asking.
So, we have, so Reshmi, that's your answer to your question. For I love listening to, acha, this is done.
Hmm.
Any plans to get Dipanjana for recall episode? Pranay says, actually, she did come for one, did she not?
She did. You were not there. Then she did come. We can get her again. We will ask her and see whether
But
she
I
does
think
it.
now she's, because in the
With
middle she
film
was,
companion.
yeah, because in the middle she was freelancing, so she could come here
Yeah.
without a problem. But if she's in a full-time gig, it really depends on her contract or her
Yeah.
arrangement. Because many people in legacy media, like Times Group earlier used to let people come for Media Rumble. Now they don't. Any day people used to come. Now
Yeah.
they don't. So a lot of people don't talk to us. क्योंकि कट्टी हो गई, क्योंकि criticized
हाँ.
us. Because let me have one social commentary. The Indian privileged elite believe they should not be criticized, because if you're criticizing them, it's enmity. Like, I'm happy to criticize people, even if they're friends of mine. You can remain friends. But among a lot of Indian adults who grew up with privilege, if you've criticized me, that means we are enemies. That maturity is not there in much of Indian media. If we have any other questions, anyone else want to join live, or are we just taking questions on the comment section? Okay. So the next question is, and Rajshri, why don't you answer this? Do you guys listen to Sham Sharma or Kushal Mehra's Who's Sham Sharma podcasts? Do you know any of these podcasts?
I don't come. Let me say something shocking. I don't listen to any podcasts. I'm not a podcast listener, but I think other people should listen to podcasts, and it's a fabulous medium
Medium.
of information and entertainment. And thank you for listening to this podcast. So there.
Hmm.
Next,
Do you listen to any of these?
I have literally never heard these names
Kushal is
before.
that girl.
Kushal is a
Mm.
guy's name. I think I know the Kushal Mishra. Was it Mehra or Mishra? I don't recall. There was a Kushal, I remember, podcast, like it's this slightly right of center. I'm not sure if it's the same
Oh,
person this
I
person's
haven't.
talking about. Who I think I have had a communication at some point. I'm not sure if it's the same person, but no, none of these spring to mind.
Kushal Mehra. Let me see.
Okay. So let me just, so you can keep your questions coming in. If you can leave the question in the comment section below, or if you want to join us live, you can just make that request in the chat box for those who are watching it live. If you're a subscriber and you want to join that chat box, you've all been sent a link, all the paying subscribers. You can just click on that link and you will join the stream. Now, I want to talk about Afwah. Ladies, why didn't you watch Afwah?
Because we are
Eh,
not
It
privileged.
just released.
Also,
didn't
we are
it?
not privileged enough to watch.
I see.
But you are. So tell us about it because that is what you watched.
I did watch Afwah. And the film is Afwah Means Rumor. It is directed by Sudhir Mishra. It's written by Sudhir Mishra, Nisarg Mehta, and Shiva Bajpai. It's produced by Anubhav Sinha. The actors are Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Bhumi
Pednekar.
Pednekar, Sumit Vyas, and Sharib Hashmi.
Tapsi Pannu is also in it.
No, she's not.
You should change the Wikipedia page.
Okay. I don't know. Does it say Tapsi?
That's why I
She's
was
not in
wondering
it.
because I haven't seen her in the
So
thing.
maybe that's another Afwah.
No, this is
Or maybe that's an Afwah.
that's the Afwa. Maybe their wiki page is taking forward the very
Afwa.
good publicity. This is
So
correct.
please go watch it. And I think it's interesting that it's released in the same week as Kerala Story, which I haven't watched, but clearly the Prime Minister has had the time to
Yeah.
watch it in his busy schedule of what's happening in Tripura, what's his many rallies. He's the guest of honor at this French Independence Day or whatever day it is. But he has the time to watch Kerala Story and endorse it during an election rally. That's the beauty. That's the new
Two
revenue model.
films he's watched
Which
in the
one?
last 9 months. Kashmir Files and Kerala Story.
So I think the new revenue model for many directors who are not A level is make a Ghatia type. I haven't watched the film, so you can say you are saying it's Ghatia without watching it. Yes, I am. Because it is clearly made with a political objective and it is being used. So was Kashmir Files, and I watched it. I watched Kashmir Files. It is a C grade film, and we've discussed it at length also. So I think the revenue model is you make a film that can be used for religious, Islamophobic propaganda by the BJP. The ministers, including the prime minister, will endorse that film in speeches, etc.
Yeah.
And then you can make a tidy packet and make more money than a loser like you would make ever in your whole career, like Vivek Agnihotri made a tiny packet, buy that huge, as HT reported, an apartment that costs more than like a bungalow in a reasonably sized city. So that's the model. Now, that same week, this very brave film, Afwah, is released. I'll briefly tell you the plot. Nawazuddin Siddiqui is an advertising professional who's come back from the US. He comes from a very humble, poor background. It is a fictitious state, but clearly it is a lot like Rajasthan because there's a whole that Rajput pride and all. So he's come there. He's giving a TED talk type thing in his old college. In the same town, there is a local politician, young guy, who has just got into an alliance with a party that ferments trouble between communities and benefits from that trouble. So, and he's engaged to Bhumi, and he, as part of that alliance, has to take his rally through a minority dominated neighborhood, and there some of his people kill a Kasai from there. It's a Kasai Mohalla. So it's clearly Hindu Muslim, although they don't say it explicitly. And and that goes viral on social media, the visuals from that riot. When he comes back home, his mangetar, his fiance Bhumi, says, I'm not marrying you. I'm ashamed of you. What a disgusting person you are. This is we are I mean, this is not why you got an education, got into politics to do this kind of shit. He says, I have to do this because our alliance is with the party that thrives on this. She runs away. He gives a huge slap on his face that just before an election, if his Mangetar has run away. His advisors say, the public will say, आपकी अपनी तुम बीवी नहीं संभाल सकते, राज्य का संभालोगे. That you can't handle your own fiance, what will you handle a state? So to spin that, they need something now. While his goons are going around trying to chase and track her down in the city, Nawazuddin sees these 3, 4 guys trying to forcibly take this woman in. So he takes her into the car and runs without knowing the context. She says, I'm this guy's fiance, and I'm also the daughter of the most powerful politician of the state. Now, this guy happens to be Muslim. So the social media team of that guy, the politician, spins this online that it's love jihad. Muslim guy has pushed out this poor Hindu girl who was engaged to the politician. In that, they also show that the truck that they're going in is carrying beef and cattle. So a lot of these Gorakshaks come. It ends with a lynching. It is a commentary on the civilized elite who are sitting, and there's a literature festival happening in the backdrop of this whole riot happening in the town. Right next to the town, there's this literature festival happening. It's a political commentary, it's a social commentary. Some of the plot twists are brilliant. Um, so I think it's a must watch. It's a really clever film after a long time. What I think it was weak on was the dialogue could have been a lot more punchy considering the plot, the overall storyline, etc. was amazing. I think the dialogue, if they had an expert dialogue writer to come and write the dialogue, that could have been better. I thought the lighting and the technical aspects, but Sudhir Mishra, he's focuses so heavily on narrative. A lot of his films are not technically excellent. I think that would add a lot if it was technically excellent. And otherwise, I just loved the film. I highly recommend it. Sudhir Mishra's films always have great music. Khoya Khoya Chand, Is Raat Ki Subah Nahi,
Yeah,
that Maniye Bavra, what was it called? Hazaro Khwaishe. So by Sudhir Mishra's film music standards, this is not up there, uh, but I loved it.
And if you haven't watched Is Raat Ki Subah Nahi, I
Mhm.
really think you should try and find it's there somewhere on Netflix or Amazon or something. It's just such a spectacularly like it is one night, right?
Yeah.
Truly it's
And amazing
24.
performances.
What performances? Smriti Mishra was in
Tara
it.
Deshpande,
Tara, Nirmal Pandey was there, and
Ashish Vidyarthi.
Ashish
His was the
Vidyarthi.
most
Yeah.
powerful.
Oh, what a
But it would be interesting to see that this film do better, or does Kerala's story do better? Because that tells us a lot about. I mean, I think if I was to break up which state this film did well, and although I have read, I think who tweeted this, that Kerala story is getting a lot more shows by
Mm.
cinema owners than
Mm.
otherwise. So that, of course, bias is also there. But it would be interesting to see how people react to each of these two films.
Also, someone I know who's was asking, which is a valid question, that why is Afwa's publicity so low? Like, is it because they have not spent that much, or is it just that it's getting drowned out in other things? Because it's such a good film that there's not enough publicity about the fact that it's out and
Very
stage
likely
and so
that's a
on.
lack of publicity.
Yeah,
Well, if the
but
Prime Minister is endorsing
yeah.
Yeah,
one film in
exactly,
that's
exactly.
And did Bhumi Pednekar act well?
I think she's acted very well, and is one of her. I mean, she does
She's
a
a
good
good
job in all that. But
actor.
I think Nawazuddin. I mean, he's done a decent job, but one thing that I realized is he's clearly comfortable in roles where he's playing someone who has a kink or who's a bit off.
Yeah,
Not a. If he has to play
straight
a, if he
character.
has to play a regular professional advertising
Hmm.
professional corporate dude with no, ऐसे करेगा मैं ऐसे. If he's like a regular dude,
Mm.
it's not a role that he's comfortable in. I've
Fair.
noticed.
And the guy who plays the fiance, I think it's Sumit Vyas.
Mm.
Or I think that's his name. I could have the. He's actually a comic actor,
Yeah.
and this is pretty much his first serious role I've seen him do. He doesn't act
Do
in,
serious roles otherwise.
and at least the trailer and some bits which I've seen, he's excellent in. Like he has that cold air about him, where like all good politicians. But so this is showing in theaters. This is not.
Sumit is from TVF.
He is.
Saurabh Padvi just
Yeah,
informed us.
that's
Thank you,
right.
Used
Saurabh.
to
Yeah.
be.
And
He's
also,
really good.
Shrikant says, Bonjour, Madame Rajyasree.
Bonjour.
I'm an NL subscriber with an avid listener of A&A. I was delighted by mentioning of Rob Reiner's Misery in the last episode. A huge fan of the movie and the book.
Yes. Please watch. Whoever hasn't watched Misery, you watch Misery with
I
Kathy Bates.
may have. Yeah,
It's
you
a
take
Stephen
names as if
King.
I don't remember the names of my friends. I'll remember the name of some actor who's not even Indian.
The Stephen King film where the book which became a film where there's a writer, he has an accident and someone
She
rescues
kidnaps
him
him.
and
Oh, she's that woman,
cat.
that slightly
Yeah,
stocky woman who's also she's a detective in one film that I watched. She's a
yeah,
cop.
so Kathy
That's
Bates.
Kathy
So
Bates.
yeah, but what a film that is.
Yeah, very nice film. I
Yeah.
watched it. Have you seen any Sudhir Mishra film?
I have not actually, but I've heard a lot about Hazaro Khwaishein Aisi.
Oh man, it
That and Israt
It's
Ki
Raat Ki
Suban.
Subani.
Nahi watched both.
even today after 2003 it was released. 20 years of Hazaro.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, like when that music had just come on, I had that CD in my car and I used to just keep playing Mane Bavara and Bavara Man Dekhne. I just keep listening to it. So then, years go by, new music come. Even
It's
now,
still
sometimes if that comes on, it sets me in a zone. I mean, that film had such an impact on me. It was just, I
That
love that
and
film.
another film which is not Sudhir Mishra's but which is excellent is Gulal. If you all
I've
haven't
heard
watched
about it.
Gulal.
जूनियर स्ट्रेंज says न्यू लोगों का कमेंट नहीं लेते नहीं जूनियर स्ट्रेंज लेते हैं बट जस्ट बाय चांस मैंने ले लिया सब्सक्राइबर ओनली है कि हाँ जूनियर ओनली सब्सक्राइबर बिना सब्सक्राइबर तो यू कैन नॉट पुश योरसेल्फ इन सॉरी वी डू नॉट दिस इज अ सब्सक्राइबर न्यूज लॉन्ड्री सब्सक्राइबर ड्रिवन I repeat,
Platform.
yes,
Yeah.
platform. We have a press freedom month fund happening, so please go to newsround.com and contribute to that fund. Subscriber in the studio. I think there's a subscriber in the studio. Is that right? There's someone coming in? He doesn't want to be added on the stream. Okay. So there's a question. Okay. So the question from this subscriber is
For a second, I thought you meant there's a subscriber in
like
the
here.
studio.
Like,
So
where
I
we spot-
leaned forward to see whether there's someone
So
standing.
Rajyasree, why don't you take this?
What is the
But I'll
question?
read it out. You don't have
Oh,
to
okay.
thuso your face into my laptop. I think there's a podcast episode due on the state of music in filmy and non-filmy scene. Okay. Yes, this is also a reminder request to read the email on Coke Studios in India. Uh, so you think there is I mean, isn't it too niche just on music? Like it need not be filmy music, even the non-filmy music. It's
No, you can have an entire podcast, in fact,
Yeah, on
podcast
music.
series on music, I feel. But you need you can't have people shooting the breeze on it. You have to have people who understand music or work in music or so that it's an informed discussion. But there's lots to discuss, I think, on music.
That is true. It
Yeah.
requires
you?
a bit more technical expertise than just reviewing, TV and movies. I think it requires somebody who has an idea of how music is made, what sounds good, all of that, and how it has evolved, like how the
Yeah.
sound has evolved over the years. So
do you play any instrument?
I don't.
Do you sing?
No, I
I do
don't.
both. I play the piano.
Oh,
Even I can play ek, do,
No,
teen.
I've
No.
learned piano.
You can sit and do.
Yeah, I can.
I've learned.
What is
Even-
it?
Even I've learned tabla, but I
Yeah.
can only do teen tal and dadra.
That's your fault. Huh?
Sounds
I
like-
can play properly.
I give you a piano, and there's a
You-
bunch of jazz musicians. One sec. Let me finish. Sitting and strumming. You can join them, and you can.
Why will
jam
I?
with
I'm
them.
not a composer. I
You don't have
can
to be a
play.
composer.
You give me
You don't know. Sing?
music. Sing though. You've heard me sing so many times.
You're the only Bengali who I
Don't say
know
that.
who has no musical talent. Because otherwise, they do that in Bengali households. If the child doesn't have musical talent by 5, I think you put them into a
We
home or
break their
something.
fingers.
Yeah, that because I don't know any
And-
Bengali who is so musically like challenged like you. I don't even know if you're Bengali because that's the only thing Bengalis really add value to our country is
Music.
and food also a little bit.
and art
Who wrote
also.
the national anthem? My uncle. Actually, he was grand uncle.
Uh, anyway,
Rajyasree, okay. What's your favorite composition to play on the piano? Do you have any particular?
No.
she's
But I
with an
can
innocent face. She's trying to
That's
make
sweet.
you
Yeah.
No, I was just
Sweet.
tell me.
genuinely asking about
I'll
your
hit you with
interest.
the mic.
Lara's theme.
It's
Sophie's
Dr.
choice.
Shivago. We all learn. So in Calcutta, a certain
In Calcutta, we all learned.
Actually-
All the children when you go to Calcutta, every child, even the ones who don't even get 1,000 calories a
was-
day, we all learn.
I was
बच्चे,
just clarifying.
आपके पास कपड़े पहनने को नहीं पियानो तो सब सीखते हैं. What is it? In Calcutta everyone
Wait,
learns
no.
like 80% of Calcutta is poor. They do not learn in the
You
piano.
made 80% of us poor.
Yes,
I was
because
qualifying
all
it if
you
he'd
all
let
you
me.
zamindars have thusoed everything in your
We were
tijoris.
not
We
Samandars. We
shall
are
one
from
day
a
rise
atom.
in revolution, and you see all your palaces. You see,
You wouldn't have got this freedom if it wasn't for my family and the freedom fighters, okay? Who spent time in jail
Ah,
and
dear
helping
God,
form the politics of this country.
helping
thank you,
form the
Rajyasree.
politics of thank you, Raj. 33 years of communist rule.
They
So,
were not commie.
so what I'm saying is, number 7. I am
Number
afraid, but I agree with Abhinandan that he was honest about his views because the other two hosts actually hold the show together.
I I think he means Abbas and Nainika, not even me.
That
Other
is
two
not
hosts
true.
can be anyone.
Then 8, Pratyush says you guys should watch Sudhir Mishra's podcast with Vivek Agnihotri.
Oh,
Dude, Pratyush,
Yeah, yeah, he's done some. I
no,
can't.
I mean, I don't know. Vivek Agnihotri is such. Yeah, Agnihotri, I don't know if you're watching this. You keep going on Twitter. I challenge anyone to debate. I've been calling you for already 3 years. Once your office confirmed, also you backed off. तो बात करने की तो तुम आता नहीं, but Twitter पे पेलते रहो. And then anyway, waste of time.
Life
I will
is
not.
also short.
And he goes on other shows and outright lies. Outright. अभिनंदन को मैंने ये बोला वो झंड बोला कुछ मतलब. Anyway, doesn't. I don't want to waste my time on that. It's a 300th episode. Let's be happy and nice. And
Happy.
when you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
This
When
also
you're
I
happy
can
and
play.
you know it, clap your hands. When you're happy and you know it, and
You're
you really want
scaring
to
the
show it. When you're happy and
subscribers.
you know it, punch a host. Okay.
You know, if you'd contacted me,
If you'd contacted me.
Then
No. And
made contact, I said.
in English, when you say if you'd contacted me means you
No,
get in touch. When
stupid.
you
I
punch
said
someone says, what do you do? He contacted.
no. I said if you'd contacted, full stop, and then I said if you'd made contact. Your hearing is also
Was it an
affected.
assault? No, it was. He contacted her.
I'll hit you with this. Now then you say. Read the next
Then,
question.
do you think there's lack of left content in India to counter the plethora of right-wing narrative? Milind Shukla says, if yes, why can't we see much opinion in India content from the left? Milind, I will answer first and then my co-host can. I don't agree with you that there is a lack of, I will not say left or right, but there's lack of liberal opinion. I think, on the contrary, in much of print media, the overwhelming opinion is liberal. I think on that I agree with the right wing that for the longest time, it was just one kind of mindset, aesthetic, and privileged background people who were commenting in media. So even today, I think the in print media that is the dominant narrative. In broadcast news, yes, there is the what we see, but I think it's evenly balanced. I just think that the right wing, like Kerala Story, Kashmir Files, and all, get a lot of fillip from the establishment, which has economic rewards for them. But otherwise, as far as opinion is concerned, I don't think the right wing has an advantage in the amount of opinion out there. What do you think, Nanika?
So I see this happening. I mean, Abhinandan's right. There is like liberal sentiments are still pretty much, the centerfold when it comes to print media. And as a backlash to that, I think right wing media gets like this weird platform in people who are, who want to take up the contrarian views. So, which is, I think, like right wing media gets a lot of screen like airtime when it comes to news channels, etc. As for actually left wing media, I think a lot of it is run by like students, student collectives, and there's like podcasts, etc. out there done by reading circles, podcasts, etc. out there. So that makes up for the actual left wing media. But again, it's not probably as mainstream as right wing media. But I think right wing media also gathers a certain amount of like eyeballs. So
What do you think?
I don't think that there's a paucity of left
Or
opinion. I'm
liberal?
also
Let's say
from
liberal.
Bengal. So there's a lot of left opinion that is there, which is and very well elucidated, elaborated, and disseminated information. Right wing media is now coming up, but
yeah.
they have felt as if they've been sort of marginalized for a long time. But that's also because usually I feel they are not as educated and as
Well
good
read.
at well
Yeah,
read. You must
right.
Well, they are
educate
more
yourself.
educated because I think engineering college and MBA schools are full of right wing narratives. So they are
Actually,
literate
that's
in that
not
sense because the word
necessarily true. Like in a lot of places, like Bengal, etc., like the engineering crowd had a greater political participation from left parties as opposed to kids
Yeah,
who studies like humanities,
but I
etc. So
don't think when I'm saying educated, so
Assuming
my
well read.
I mean, well, education to me is not going to
Hmm.
engineering school
hmm,
or BA honors in English or anything. It is how well read you are, well informed you are. When I'm saying are you educated, I mean an educated mindset. I think the right wing tends to be a little focused and narrow in their thinking and in the way they portray their views. But there are many well informed, well read people in the
yeah,
right now,
that is
and
true.
that shocks me that they propagate the kind of views that they do or opinions that they do because they do know better. So that is there, but
I think it's also about fitting in. Just like in the liberal kind of ecosystem, there is a certain bunch who are uncomfortable with the ultra woke
Mm-hmm.
liberalism. And
hmm,
I know I voice it, I get a lot of hate that I don't understand gender, I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand this. Maybe I don't, but it is not a theorem, so you cannot conclusively, like math, say that this is right and this is wrong. I think anything that is social and political is nuanced. And I think a lot of liberals don't get that, especially the new age liberals. They think that hum keh diye to keh diye, that
hmm,
this is a commandment, so fuck you to that. But that was there in the liberal ecosystem to a lesser extent. In the right, and I know many of the
hmm,
people you're talking about, and we know
hmm.
them, they were sensible right of center
Yeah.
voices. And if you talk to them, they said, look, there is no space. Like the liberal ecosystem is never going to either provide us with opportunities for career,
Hmm,
uh, you know, uh, monetary reward, etc., unless you go all the way. कि देश के गद्दारों को गोली unless you are completely demented,
hmm,
you will not be accepted by the right ecosystem. So many of them have gone that far, and they have admitted as much, to me at least.
and
So I think that's what's happening. That's why there's no sensible voices coming out of that ecosystem. But I hope that answers your question, Milind. Thank you so much for your question. Nikita says she disagrees with me.
hmm,
I'm a class 10 student. I really like this show.
thank you.
After all the boring studies, this shows my stress buster. I watched Afwa and want to see more films like this. Please recommend. Yes, Nikita, excellent film. Well, more films like this. I thought the Last Action Hero had a lot of subversive dialogue. I think it must have gone over the heads of many people in the establishment, which kind of mocked the
Oh, the
establishment.
one with
Ayushmann
Ayushmann.
Khurrana.
Ayushmann. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's another. Watch Hazaro Khwaishein Aisi. Then we have long-time subscribers, Somani Datta.
Hmm.
Watch India for the banter between Abhinandan and Rajyasree and the brutally honest opinions. Could you reduce the gap between the release date and the date on which you review it?
Not my fault. It's your fault.
Somani, honestly, I'll tell you, and again, I'll be brutally honest. I so often come on this show not having watched anything. Because, just to give you an example, we are in the process of trying to put together a live broadcast on the Karnataka election. And other than that, there are lawyers' meetings, there are also other meetings. And I was just saying, I get fatigue, screen entertainment fatigue. So we started this show, but uh, you're right. Maybe we should find someone who can give it the kind of attention that it deserves. Okay, Ekta's questions that my two co-hosts will be able to answer. Let me start with the left. Recommend some good horror mystery thrillers,
Uh,
horror slash mystery slash thrillers to Ekta.
I think Mia Goth has done like X recently, which was quite interesting. Suspiria, I really liked both the older version and the relatively newer one with Dakota Johnson in it. I will always recommend Last Night in Soho. I thought it was a brilliantly done movie. And what else can I think of? Shadow, which one was the Timothy Chalamet? The one where he plays a cannibal.
आग का गोला
Yes,
हमसे
very close,
हम
very
किसी से
close,
कम नहीं.
very close, very close.
What was it?
Timothy Chalamet, he did this movie recently with this where he plays a cannibal. Apparently, that was also like a good horror, not exactly horror, more like body horror.
Bones and all.
Yes, Bones and All. Bones and All was also interesting.
All right, that's four recommendations from Ekta.
What
Can
else?
you give five to
No,
make it nine? A
it's not.
good round figure.
Watch Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Watch Omen if you want horror. Watch mystery. Let's see. one of the films which I made Abhinandan go for, I should recommend. Uh, which are the other ones? I think those two and Get Out,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Get
which
Out.
was excellent. Of the new ones, I would say
Uh,
Get Out was really,
really
really
good.
good. And we watched that one. What was it
Up,
called?
Us or no?
us,
No, no, where that guy is blind and people break
don't
into
breathe.
Don't
Don't.
Breathe. It
Oh,
was
okay,
really
okay,
good.
that one. Yeah.
And watch the Audrey Hepburn film, Wait Until Dark. That's really like just watch it if you haven't seen it till now. And watch Rope, which is Alfred Hitchcock's is it Hitchcock's? Yeah, first film. It was shot in 8 takes. It's fabulous. It's about a murder. And
So many horror mystery
Yeah.
so
recommendations.
many
So
We should actually do a
and
horror
Child's
special.
Play, my favorite.
okay, that's really
Shakti.
shit film. It is, yeah. We should do a horror. In fact, both of you should. We should do one horror. In fact, now onwards, we should every month do one special which is just dedicated to a genre. So I will not participate in the horror one, obviously. The political
Yeah.
drama, I think that's very
Yeah.
musicals. I've loved.
Yeah.
So I have no recommendation for horror. It's my least favorite genre, but the one that I've enjoyed most in the horror genre is Sixth Sense. And she'll again say, but I had predicted. Everyone's heard that many
First
times.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So Sixth Sense and Get Out, I think, are the two in the horror genre that I've liked. Otherwise, I have never liked a horror film. It is like it's
Omen?
yeah, but yeah, Omen. But the thing is, you can't recommend in 2023 Omen to someone. Yeah.
Even now, I watched it the other day. It
Okay.
is so well
I don't
made.
know. But I mean, it's like recommending Jaws to someone today. When we saw Jaws, it was like fuck, it blew our minds. Today, like someone said Jaws, I've seen Megalodon or King Kong or whatever. So it's, I mean, you can't
But
recommend.
the film you should watch if you haven't watched it, it's not horror or anything. It's called The Goonies,
Oh, okay.
which is
Goonies.
just such a great film. I don't know where it's streaming, but watch The Goonies. It's excellent, absolutely.
Yeah, watch Nope as well. I think it was a pretty decent film.
Nope was yeah, it has
Decent,
moments.
yeah.
Okay, we have
Mm.
see. This was asked by Nikita, right? Who won Ekta.
What?
So Ekta, you have the beauty of News Laundry is that there's a community of people. You ask a question instead of these three people recommending. You have recommendations
Oh.
from Jay. No, that the recommendation from Harshit, who says Jay horror is really good. Then Vinit says Speak No Evil. It's a Danish film, great horror. Ju-on, Ringu, Pulse. These are three different films, not one
Hmm.
film. Ju-on is one film, Ringu is one film, Pulse is one film. Vineet says Prisoners, Nightwalker, and Speak No Evil. Nope was good, says Kruti. Fresh with Sebastian
Oh, okay. I watched
Stan
that one.
is a
That was
good one.
intense.
Oh,
Yeah, we've
Zohair
like
says
that.
Ring.
yeah, Ring
Pranay
is
says
pretty
Fresh.
decent.
So
Yes.
Fresh has come from two people. Um, so
One more I'd like to add. There's this Brazilian film called Bacurau, and it's psychological horror. It's a very interesting film. I think I would recommend that as well.
when you say Bakurao, I'm just thinking of Paresh Rawal playing the title sequence in the film about Bakurao. Hey, ka karta re Bakurao? Anyway.
And watch this Satyajit Ray short film called keep quiet, called Monihara. It's part of Teen Kona. It is so
A
scary.
part of Chin Kona, Moni horror, because Shorty Trade, known
It
for horror
just
film.
his death
Huh?
anniversary was yesterday. You're making fun of someone.
How I mean, I'm just
Rest in
saying,
peace.
we are talking about horror. You talk about any genre, and if you have a Bengali in the mix, they will Thuso Satyajit Ray in.
If
Who are the finest horror? Satyajit Ray, of course.
I-
Who's made the best
It
pop?
speaks to his
Who's made the
genius, I
best pop
guess.
romance?
Correct.
Satyajit Ray, of course. Who's made the best pop? Satyajit Ray, of course.
if there were no Bengalis, you all would neither have freedom nor would you have music nor cinema.
If there were no Bengalis, the East India Company would never have come in. They came in through
Shut up.
Bengal.
True Bengal.
Yes.
We only said come.
Yes. Had they tried to come in through Punjab, they said, "Betu andar aake dikha."
No.
You got them in, and now you're saying, "Oh, you
That's
didn't even
because
throw
our
them out."
food was so nice, they came towards us only. Punjab, they've got Rajma only, na? Fodder.
Rajma.
Huh? Then?
What world you're in. But anyway,
What
so
is your other question?
yeah, I think it's 12:40. We're almost out of time. We have time for a few more questions, if any. Does anybody want to join? You can put them in. If anyone wants to join live, they're most welcome. I just hope I haven't missed any questions, guys. If we have, just put them in. Uh, speaking of just pop culture,
Hmm.
cinema, etc. I recently rediscovered, it was actually, I was looking for a song for a particular reason for a
Hmm.
show we were doing, and I rediscovered Mirza Ghalib, the
Mhm.
show made by Gulzar
Hmm.
with Nasiruddin Shah, and it has such spectacular music. Of course, it's Mirza Ghalib's music and
Hmm.
Jagjit's voice, Mirza Ghalib's poetry, Jagjit's voice, directed by Gulzar. The show was amazing. And I was just thinking that there's so much to be said about what is the, cultural, in the arts space, what gets patronage. Just like kings used to give patronage at
Hmm.
one time.
Mhm.
Um, Now governments are those kings. Governments will
Hmm.
decide that which channel gets how much money,
Mhm.
who gets how much money to make what film. The MEA gives, funds. Now, I think it's an unfair system generally, no matter which government does it. But putting that aside, the fact is that during the early years, the kind of stuff that film division used to commission was Ek Chidiya, Ne Chidiya, Ekta.
Hmm.
It was about, Mirza Ghalib. What a beautiful Tamas. What beautifully made
Hmm.
shows. Now the state patronages towards such shit. And that, I think, is a huge loss because the kind of resources the state has. You can even, like, if I want to make something on the Forge today, I can't do it unless the MOD is on my
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
the army, the chief's office is on my side, and therefore the kind of you will never. Some of the army officers have come and told me stories about the battles that they've said, but I mean, it's a very interesting thing about how this soldier from Pakistan, we saw he was doing everything, how we
Hmm.
targeted him because when he would be taken down, their entire assault would go. But we were
Yeah.
so impressed with him that when he sent his body back in his fist, a commanding officer sent a
Hmm.
note. He fought like a lion. Give him a send off
Hmm.
worthy of
Worthy of.
him.
Hmm.
No film about war will
Mhm.
show that,
Yeah.
although they did it. So, and I think that is a big loss because state patronage really decides. So, I think in these 10 years, the Modi years, if one was to dissect a podcast where people watch what they're talking about, 20, 40,
Hmm.
50 years from now, as far as the arts is concerned, this would be the crappiest phase. Like shows like Awful and Awesome would be the good ones.
That also will get stopped.
This would be the crappiest phase of, state sponsored arts and cinema and music, etc.
So I say this facetiously very often, but I do mean it a little bit that if you must have propaganda films and Nazi Germany strongly believed in using propaganda well, at least make sure that the people who are making those films have some skill and talent, whether we like it or not. Leni Riefenstahl's uh, cinema cinematography and the way she many of her photography skills and how she used to shoot cinema and her scripting is still used by filmmakers today because there was a certain skill set that she had and there was a certain which is why their propaganda was so scary because it
Mhm.
was
It
so
actually worked.
effective and so skilled that it was like watching good cinema and then later you realize oh my god this is celebrating Nazi
Nazis.
like various aspects of Nazi Germany, right? So our problem is we don't who are our filmmakers. Vivek Agnihotri, this new lovely Bengali man who's made the
No, I feel
Kerala
like it's still
story.
better that, we don't have as many skilled people doing our propaganda machinery because at least it's transparent. If we had somebody really good at the
Transparent to
propaganda,
us the people who want
fair.
to believe it are
That is
believing
true.
it.
I do want to say that I think it's very much a global thing that, the movement of money towards the arts has really dried up in a way. Like earlier, at least the rich people were incentivized, like socially incentivized to be a patron of the arts, etc. So we know that the Met Gala is like, it happens to raise money for the costuming department of the Met.
Hmm.
They have an exhibition that holds like costumes that have been designed for, I guess, movies, like,
Hmm.
etc. And people were like, "Oh, the Met Gala is stupid because it's just all these rich people coming and looking insane or whatever," which is fair, I guess it is. But at the end of the day, it's also creating money for an actual art exhibit to go on that actually puts on display stunning work.
Hmm.
So the fact is that there is too much of this anti-snobbery it like sentiment that is actually taken away from the fact that people should be invested in the arts. People should be putting money, effort, and their brain towards consuming
Hmm.
arts or
True.
engaging with
True.
meaningful art. But that's just not the case anymore. And yeah, I think it's a very sad thing.
I
So
mean, I completely agree with you, but I think it cuts both ways. It's also because there is a lack of the icons of our time. determine the direction of the aesthetic of
Yeah.
the time. So if the icons of our time are, politicians, like Mr.
Hmm.
Modi is talking about Kerala story, or Amit Shah's talking about Kashmir files. But even in the West, someone like Robert De Niro will back a Tribeca Film Festival. They will do a smaller.
Yeah.
Someone like Leo DiCaprio will
Yeah.
say, "Okay, let me do." Here are, the icons, whether it's an Alia Bhatt or whoever are the icons of our time. Let alone back anything that has a cerebral aesthetic to it. They won't even be aware of this is also there. I mean, so I think because India is such a hierarchy driven,
Hmm.
and the privileged live in these bubbles. um, India is a unique case where this the bashing snobbery without bashing, privilege without really appreciating nuance exists. But more than that, there is no awareness from those who have privilege
Yeah.
to understand that this is also what we can stand
Yeah.
for. I mean,
Correct.
look at the wrestlers protest again. Someone just commented on this thing that is going into a political,
Direction or
ranting. So I
whatever.
will stop. But you
Hmm.
know, cricketers will not comment. PT
Yeah.
Usha made some lame comment. And they don't know where they stand on what. There is no stand. It is, how do I protect my home? Just like many people I know who identify themselves as
Hmm.
liberal
Hmm.
are happy to trash, and the same thing is true for Pakistan, are happy to trash religious bigotry,
Huh.
but they are not so liberal when it comes to other social
Yeah.
issues, because that challenges there. Like, this is true for Pakistan because I have several, I won't call them friends, but acquaintances in Pakistan. They are so happy to trash the mullahs because they have all studied at
Hmm.
Ivy
Hmm.
Leagues in
Hmm.
America
Hmm.
and all. But if you ask them about the feudal structure they live under, that they will
Huh.
not attack,
Yeah.
because
They
they are
benefit from that.
they, without
Yeah.
that they are bloody nobody's there.
Nothing.
So
Hmm.
it's a very selective liberalism also.
No, and this rest of protest, I have to say something which I didn't even realize. Even I said that. Oh, listen, no one expects Sachin to say anything about anything because he never has. But someone told me, they said, "Do you realize no one from the female Indian cricket team has also made a statement? Like you're carrying out about, of course, the male Indian cricket team is much bigger, and of course, you must call them out when they don't do anything. But the female cricket team, which is quite like the standing they have today, they have not had in the last
Yeah,
10 years or so. No one has come out in support.
because
Say something.
BCCI is
Yeah.
run by Amit Shah's son, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're scared he might sit on you. Shit, I was going to say sit on you. But it is shocking that no one has come out in support of these girls, of the wrestlers who are sitting over there. It is no joy to be sitting in Jantar Mantar in the
Yeah.
No.
heat
And
and
also
fighting. And
talking about the
as I have
brutal.
always said, in India, when someone, and it's elsewhere also, but especially in India, when there is nothing to be gained from telling someone that you have been sexually harassed, especially if it's against someone powerful.
Mhm.
If you think anyone is benefiting from this, of these female wrestlers, none of them are. So it's
Right.
anyway, this is all very serious. So
So
we
we'll take
will,
the last three
yes,
questions. One is, have you guys reviewed Bardo by Alejandro
Ale,
Inarritu?
Alejandro.
Alejandro Inarritu. So we are
I
actually
we are so
we
fancy.
are actually
We are
focusing
so viva
on
pronunciation.
giving
We are so
tuitions to
adult and mature.
Abhinandan on pronunciation of names. No, but we haven't done, but we will. Is it new?
So this is not Alejandro Inarritu. What is it?
It's Alejandro Iñárritu. Inya.
You also
Because
know.
you're okay, he or she, Varun has not put the axo on top of Iñárritu. So poor Abhinandan, it's not his
Acha,
fault.
had that been there, I would have
He
got it.
would have got it instantly.
Then, hi NL team. Raman says, apart from Vivek Agnew, other right-wing ideologues also refuse to come, such as Sai Deepak. I don't know if you've ever contacted Sai Deepak to come on a hafta or anything, but yeah, most right-wing voices refuse to speak. Not just, even liberal voices refuse to speak with us. I mean, very few netas are agree to speak to us, because we got everybody, buddy. We don't take no prisoners from nobody.
Also, one thing I have to say, it's not like the liberals are more thick skinned than the right wingers.
You're right.
Okay, you tell them, oh my god, they're so upset about their
Okay.
each
Always
person
on,
is.
everyone's in outrage mode.
Yeah,
But honestly, again, not everybody, but if you spend too much time on social media, you will always be in
yeah.
outrage mode. And then Somani, we'll end with this question. at the end of every episode, could you give recommendations like Hafta so we could benefit from your library? So, Mani, I give recommendations on Punjabi songs after almost every.
And we still have subscribers.
So, I mean,
It's a miracle.
I
No,
do my.
Abhinandan's
I do
taste
my.
is good. So.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
She
please,
doesn't know.
don't
She
act
doesn't
smart.
understand Punjabi.
Just because you're sitting far away from it, we'll get
Although
up and-
I will end by saying I discovered one more Punjabi song which I really liked, and what is you recommend what you want? Now you recommend what's his name?
What? Satyajit Ray
Yeah.
say? Any shit.
You recommend him. Let me recommend what I want to recommend. No?
Kerala story.
So
Please
there's
watch
a
the
new
Kerala.
Punjabi song that I just discovered. It's called Chitta Kukkad. It's actually a old traditional Punjabi folk
Small
song.
chicken.
White chicken.
But
Oh, it's white.
so the new version of that is quite this singer called Neha Bhasin, and she has a lovely voice actually. So I mean, this song, if you're Punjabi, you've heard it growing up at every wedding.
Wasn't she
everything.
part of Viva?
I don't know, but this is what it sounds like.
I can sing it.
Lovely voice.
She's part of Viva. Hmm. Oh, I've heard this.
काशनी दुपट्टे वालिए
Do you remember
मुंडा
Viva?
सदके तेरे ते. You can give your recommendation of Viva. That's mine.
No, why would I go a Viva? Listen to Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Everyone has rediscovered Backstreet Boys because they have come here
I believe
to
they're in
perform
India.
in Bombay.
I really
and-
liked them when I was in school.
So I prefer Take That to Backstreet Boys.
Maybe I'm
and I
mixing
like
up the two.
Take That is Gary Barlow, Robbie. No, that's Backstreet
okay.
Boys. Take That has Robbie Williams
Step
and all.
one.
No,
There's
that's
so
another.
much you can do.
And there was another
Step by step.
Boys to Men.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah,
Do you remember Boys to
baby.
Men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we've come to the end of the road,
Correct.
still I can't
Michael Learns to
let
Rock?
go. Michael Learns to Rock 10 years before that.
Spice Girls.
It's
Spice Girls.
but so
Listen,
by then
other
I was an adult, so that's not.
Spice Girls were one of the first truly feminist bands. Like
Yeah.
that, even their songs are about female independence, about choose what you want to do with your life, and they were very hot.
Very pretty.
I
of them, yeah.
disagree.
Some were.
Your recommendation for the week. So your recommendation for the week is Spice Girls.
No, and Madonna's new song, which I put. What is it? American
Chitta
something.
Cooker, White
Mhm.
Chicken. Yours?
I
It doesn't have
don't.
to be a song. I mean, they said from our library. It could be a film. It could be a series. Something that they can watch.
I guess Drive to Survive on Netflix. That F1 show. Miami Grand Prix is this weekend, so I'm excited for that.
But from the old film, you'll only get it on YouTube. It's in 7 parts. It's not on any platform. But I highly recommend you watch a film called Kalyug, starring. It has I mean, I don't think a cast like that has ever been assembled after that. Shashi Kapoor, Amrish Puri, Raj Babbar, Rekha, Anant Nag, Victor Banerjee. It is a modern day Mahabharat set in Bombay industrial family. It is one of the most sophisticated films you will find. It is brilliant, and it's in 7 parts on YouTube.
And watch this film. It used to be on Netflix. It might be on Amazon or one of it's called Labyrinth. Labyrrinth. It has what's his name? David Bowie in it. It is just fabulous, and it has that fabulous actress Jennifer
Connelly?
Connelly. It was one of her first films, and it's a fantasy horror
Mhm.
musical, and it was spectacular. So you must watch it, and it's there online. I know that it is. There are so many different suggestions.
What are the recommendations? No, I mean,
No,
we're
don't
wrapping up with
spoil
something
people.
else. Yeah, fair.
So we will
Sorry.
end by singing Chitta Cooker, the
No, no,
three of
no.
us. With Woolies.
I'll
I've
sing.
done
Oh,
that
okay.
one.
One more thing I wanted your opinion on. So America is having its writers' strike.
Yes.
Um,
And all
currently.
the
And
late night shows are off air.
yeah, all the late night shows are off. I
They're
think the
back on.
last writer strike happened in 2007 or something, and I
Hmm.
think like they're again aiming for another similarly
Right.
huge. Yeah, I think they're like, the writers are like, we face like, I mean, when this show is off season, it's very difficult for us to make ends meet. We don't
Hmm.
even have any rights on the work that we do. So yeah, I mean, do you think like writers should similarly be protesting in India? What is the scenario? What is the financial
I
like
think
intellectual property rights for
I think
writers in
this whole
India?
thing exists in a legal framework which has to be seen in its entirety. Uh, Now, I mean, just to give you an idea, that when the writer strike happened, people like Stephen Colbert and some of the other late night hosts, they supported the writer
Hmm.
strike. In
Yeah.
Jimmy
fact,
Kimmel and all
some of
those.
them
Hmm.
actually said that if it weren't for the writers, my show would
Yeah.
just be me ranting.
Yeah, The Office went off air for a
So they
while, I
support
guess.
the strike. So it's not like baki sab chup baithte hain. Because the scale of the industry there is so huge that they can actually distribute a bigger piece of the pie to others. In fact, Ed Sheeran just won the case
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
against that old musicians.
Who said
What's it
that
called?
Marvin Gaye is.
Marvin Gaye is this thing,
Hmm.
and he said now um, the so in that context, I do think that the budgets are huge, the economics around entertainment industry is big enough to give a bigger piece to the writers because writers are key to what I mean. I will tell you, running a production house, we try to do shows here, we try to do satire shows. The hardest thing to get is a writer. It is much easier to get any other
Hmm.
profession than a good writer is really hard. And also it's the hardest to write consistently if you have to write day after day after day. So I do think they deserve a bigger piece of the pie. But here, is the overall economics robust enough in the entertainment industry or the television? I don't know. Because I don't think like the writing of a Sas Bahu. I mean, we know some
Hmm.
people who have written for those. It is not rocket science. It's like
Hmm.
shit.
Yeah.
You can just write in an hour. So if those people don't write, that writer can be replaced like that. But in some other entertainment industry, I hear a lot of producers whine about there are no good writers. The fact is they live in this bubble. There's a lot of very good writers that I've met, but they just don't get a chance.
Hmm.
And there is a tendency that write writer ka de do, I'll pay you if I feel like it.
Hmm.
Whereas everybody else has to be paid up front. Even technicians, because the union in Bombay about assistants,
Hmm.
light
Hmm.
assistants is very strong. In fact, if you go from a Delhi unit,
Hmm.
and I've experienced this, and you go to Bombay and shoot, we used to travel with the whole unit. Someone will see us shooting somewhere, they will say they're shooting there.
Hmm.
They haven't taken technicians from here,
Hmm.
they won't let you shoot. You have to take technicians from the Bombay union. So the technicians are unionized, the light assistants, etc., are unionized. The rigs, the grips are unionized, but writers aren't. So that is my muddled view on this. Yours?
No, I do think that writers need to be paid more.
Mhm.
That is something I strongly believe. And there is the majority of shows now on, thanks to OTT, you have a lot more diverse kind of
Yeah,
shows coming out of India. But otherwise, the majority of shows on TV were the SARS who
yeah.
variety which
Daily
were there.
soaps, yeah.
That doesn't mean that those people don't
Shouldn't be
deserve to
deserved.
be
Yeah.
this thing, but it's not structured very well. This industry as such is not structured very well. So that is a problem. Like, I think the problem lies in its structure itself. And now it's far more professionally run than it was earlier.
So Kritik, no, sorry, who has done it? Ekta has just said, no, Nikita has just said that you are late as usual. Chitta Kukkad from Neha came out 4 years ago.
Better
See,
late than never.
Yeah.
the thing is that I will quote this one line from my favorite book. If you want book recommendations, Shame is one of my favorite books by Salman Rushdie. And there's one line which is said by the Ziaul Haq. It's basically like Midnight Children is a political commentary of India. Shame is of Pakistan. And that character, he says, oh, sorry, I've just done an uncle thing. I've
Huh.
forgotten the line. it was it was
But
the
it's the thought that
the
counts.
line
You
is
read the full book,
the,
you will find the line.
Okay,
the
what was
line is
the?
it there's there, there's some places or there's some things it doesn't matter who came first. It matters who came last. And this he says when he hangs Bhutto. Because he and Bhutto have this rivalry. So Bhutto treats him like shit, and Bhutto becomes the prime minister. And later, when he becomes a dictator, he hangs him and he says two lines he has. One is life is long as opposed to life is short.
Mhm.
He says, I'll bide my time, life is long. So I love that line. Even I believe life is long. You can send me legal notices, you can keep doing all this shit. Life
I'll
is long.
survive.
I will have my time, so I have no problem with that. And the second thing is that some places it doesn't matter who came first, it matters who came last. These are my two favorite lines on that profound thought. We will end by singing Chitta Kukkad.
300
No,
episodes.
Chitta Kukkad
we lost all the subscribers, so we don't
bane
have to do the podcast
Kashmi
anymore.
dupatte wali
Solve this
munda
problem.
sadke tere te. We have a line now when we finish. You can write to us at podcast@newslaundry.com. I repeat, podcast
Oh,
at
what's
newslaundry.com.
happening?
Do top up our Press Freedom Fund because we don't take ads,
Yes.
which is why we can say what the fuck we want and we ain't afraid of consequences because we got you. We don't need an ad by Adani Industries or any government, central or state, which are bombarding every channel with ads because elections are coming up. So suddenly there's a lot of money going to broadcast, by the way. Salaries in broadcast TV have gone up again because all the money is coming in, political money. So we need you guys to support us because a lot of people are leaving us and going to legacy
Mhm.
media. So subscribe to News Laundry, support the Press Freedom Fund. And my co-host, thank you so much, Rajyasree Sen. Thank you so much, Nainika. Thank you, Anil, sound recordist. Thank you, Priyali, our new producer. The first time she's produced this in Delhi on her own. Good job. It is a complicated one. Thank you, Shwet, our social media editor, who has been bombarding me with all the questions, etc. And thank you, Taharim. I think you're just here to provide your calming influence. I'm not sure if you're involved in any other aspect of this.
Just, just
she's
to
providing,
make
she's
sure.
providing the calming influence, which is why things were very calm
Yeah.
before we
Very
started.
smooth, yeah.
Yes.
All because of her. She maintained the calm just shortly before we rolled. Ladies, I give you guys the last word. Say what you want for as long as you want.
As long as you want. Come. For the next 2 hours now, I'll tell you about Bengal's contribution to India's freedom and progression as a modern society and why lots of right wingers are Bengalis. No, thank you for listening. Keep listening and thank you.
I mean,
And
it's a wrap.
Thank you, Miss Sen.
thank you, Mr. Sekhri.
Thank you, Ms. Rathore.
Thank you, Mr. Sekhri.
Thank you, dear subscribers, and please keep supporting us. We will see you after. I'm going to have a bath today. Saturday. Saturday, I'm not nahayenge. Breakfast kha chuke. The subscription model is something that keeps News Laundry afloat, but we need hundreds of thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video, subscribe to News Laundry, and pay to keep news free, or garv se